tryna take it down, place for you just scoring minds, best the bar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I got your watch list coming into January 13th, 2020, and I got a weird theory and set of plays to go over coming into tomorrow. I think it's going to be good. Again, we've already finished up the first week of 2020 officially, so this follow-up is going to be very, very important, and the main thing I want to talk about after that is going to be the earnings. So I got a few keys for you guys. I want to talk about kind of the main overarching thing we need to be watching this week, and then also how we're going to be setting up into this earnings season and what this all means. Again, there is some of that new stuff, and then I got some plays for you. Specifically, I got two companies that I think are going to go crazy. Again, this is kind of the weird theory. You'll see them, and we'll share what we did with one of the plays. One of them I'll tell you right now, it's going to be Beyond Meat, but how we structured that, and again with the options chain, there's going to be a specific opportunity to take advantage of Beyond Meat. So let's get into it, and forgive me about the audio. I know it sounds a little bit weird. I'm actually shooting this from the MacBook microphone. I got a flight delay, things I'm not on schedule today, but we still got the watch list, baby. So before we get to that, make sure you guys drop your thumbs up on the video. Make sure you're subscribed, and if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. It's the first link in the description, and it is pinned in the comments. We better see you there in the morning. And don't forget the most important thing you need to do. Post your watch list below. Let us know what you're looking at. If you got any plays, call outs, anything, this is where you want to post it. Give me some ideas. You know, my watch list is pretty straightforward this day. And again, if I'm going to be looking at some more obscure type plays besides the earnings. So let's see what you guys are still focused on from last week. But right off the bat, the first key is going to be Iran. So if you guys saw over the weekend, Iran took responsibility for the plane crash. You know, we talked about this last week. Now there is protest, and really there's going to be a lot of back and forth. Again, we're going to see how the market responds. It has the possibility to really start taking a big toll on the market. But then at the same time, you guys have seen the market bounced up. You've seen how resilient it's been. And usually the more and more you hear about something, the less and less impact it's going to have. So Iran is going to be a back and forth, and it's going to be like the new trade war essentially. And I think for a little while until we get more clarity. But as these protests develop, if there's more attacks, again, like we talked about last week, those are going to be the main things to highlight and focus on. And even that being said, as you're selecting plays, if you're trying to play this with the options, you have to be very, very careful, because how you go about playing will really be the make it or break it if you win or not. Because again, you could be right, you know, a piece of news comes out with Iran, the market reacts, then you go make a play, you could be right, but then the next day it gets refuted, only for 2 days later for the market to respond back to that. So make sure you guys get some time. So that's the first thing. The next thing is watch out for earnings. Earnings are starting. I think we are going to be getting the bank earnings getting set up here. So get ready for that. And this quarter is going to be very, very important, you know, especially for the rest of the year. This is where companies are going to start giving their guidance. This is where companies are coming off of all of the expectations from 2019. So however this moves from here is going to be very, 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 very important. So do not get caught sleeping on any of these, and be prepared. Again, you guys saw what happened with the earnings season last quarter. So keep your eyes open for it. Start budgeting for that. And again, too, wait for both the obscure names. Again, some of the Bank of America stocks and the banks are going to be good. Those are a little harder to play for earnings, but then the next level is going to be coming in after that. It's when there's the big name companies and the off-brand companies like we've talked about. Then finally, this is relating to some of the plays. Continuations are going to be big. I have this feeling that even with all this news, the companies that really aren't affected, or the companies that are able to break away, are going to have big continuations. And we've already seen that, and we've seen that especially with some companies, even like I would say Facebook. You know, last week, remember we played that debit spread. Shout out to people who held it that long too. You know, we cut out early, but it actually hit the max gain. But even despite all of this stuff, the candles were bigger, but it ended up actually going up. You know, the continuation was there. Another prime candidate is going to be like CrowdStrike, and we'll talk about that, but not as much. I think even better is going to be Tesla. You guys saw that there. So these continuations, if the stock is able to break off from the market and all of this news and all that, there's going to be big continuation. So I'm going to watch out for that. But let us get into the plays. So right off the bat, the two plays I got for you guys are going to be one, Beyond Meat. I think is at a very, very interesting point. And again, this is one of those continuations. This thing has been dead for months. We have a play on that. I'm going to show you guys what we did with that. But then the next play is also going to be TLT. We did make a play on that a few days ago. Now what we have to start doing is setting up the Ghetto spread. But again, I think with the bank earnings, the Iran stuff, all this, TLT might slowly start creeping up. And again, we've been watching this for months, ever since our big $100 to 10,000. We've watched this thing for a long time now, if you think about it. But this thing has not broke below that 136, that 135. So with it coming back up here, some of these tensions, that's going to be interesting. But as far as the beyond play goes, there's going to be two options. So if you guys remember last week, we made two different plays. First was this debit spread. That thing is up $20. So again, depending on how beyond opens, there's going to be depreciation. And this is what I'm saying of how you could take advantage of playing beyond in this sense. And again, beyond is reacting from news related to Impossible Foods, as well as partnership with McDonald's, as well as creating capacity. It was good news, but I didn't think it would move the stock like this. So this is more, again, playing that technical breakout, or really the price level of hype momentum and going above 100. But like I've also pointed out before, anytime beyond is broken above this point, it has gotten really, really crazy. But it's broken it once, came down, to shoot up again, to come down, and then shoot up. But it's not saying it's going to necessarily repeat this, but give yourself time, essentially. And this is where I'm saying we're going to be watching. If you guys remember how we've ever played Beyond Meat in the past, you watch this company, you get in, you're going to play both short term and long term, to kind of play both sides, but give yourself time, because it's going to pop up, get really expensive, and then all of a sudden they're going to get really cheap. So that being said, what we want to do is the Ghetto spread, baby. So this is the play that we made. We did this last week. It was $80, and now it has about a $2,000 max gain. So we'll show you. So here's the first one. We bought the Beyond 130 call. This expires at the end of this week, so it's a weekly. It's far out the money. This is why we did this. But I bought 4 of them for 21 cents each, a total of $84. And then yesterday, when it went up in the morning, if you guys saw Beyond, it started breaking above the 90. It was early in the morning. These contracts were worth a lot of money. So again, it was weird on Robinhood. I had issues getting filled, if you guys saw that on the live. But what I ended up doing was the Ghetto spread, baby. We sold a Beyond 135. So remember, the first one was a Beyond 130. We bought those at 21 cents each. We spent $80 for 4 of them. I was able to short the 135 contract for 39 cents each. We collected $156, and now our max gain is capped at $5 per contract. So again, Beyond is still like 30% away from reaching this, so it's still a low probability, but this was a great play, because now with 4 contracts at a $5 max gain each, that's a $2,000 max gain. But now the best part that made this such a great trade, and again, this is what I'm saying you could do with Beyond this week. You could go small. I mean, I went big with $80. I would say $80 is pretty big, but you could start looking at the next week contracts, spend 20, 40 bucks, and then if it starts getting this volatility, you do these Ghetto spreads. So the best part about this play is, remember, I spent $81 for the initial investment. I'm getting back $160. So I almost received 100% profit on the trade, as well as still having a $2,000 upside. So we got all the money back, $2,000 upside, and it's a no risk trade, which is at the end of the day the best thing possible. So that was the first trade. The next one, we had the TLTs, and really the TLTs, I'm going to we already have that one TLT. Remember, we bought 10 of the February 21st. We got these 151s at 7 cents, and pretty much these are still, they haven't gone up too much. These are still far out. This is one just playing time, and it's kind of like a, if something goes bad. But again, I think we'll see this week again if there's anything else with the Fed. But the plan would be to be able to Ghetto spread these, hopefully these 155s, or again, if it does start going crazy, the thing with the Ghetto spread, these $5 increment ones like you saw at Beyond, those could be very, very good. So watch both those plays. Besides that, I will give a secondary runner-up to Shopify. Remember, we're still in that play, and again, this is one of those stocks that do the continuations. So they've been kind of doing their own thing. I like where they're at with Shopify, and same thing, Tesla and Crowd and even Roku. These are all the ones I would be looking at. Again, it all depends on what happens with the market and how they operate, but try to find those big namers. But besides that, everything else, I will be looking at Amazon. They're going to be important. Again, Facebook, you guys saw, did that melt up there, but I was very, very surprised to see that Amazon gave up a little bit. But again, earnings is going to start getting up right around the corner. Watch for Amazon to do this, because this is probably going to leave one of those bigger up days open for Amazon to have. So I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Then NOC, again, with the defense stocks, we still have those plays. They got crushed, but now with the Iran stuff, this is one of those plays where I'm saying it's going to work, come down, work again, come down. It's going to be a weird game of musical chairs, but hopefully if we do see a piece of news that we could identify as having a long lasting effect, then we'll be able to know where to go. But I am going to keep my eye on NOC and the defense stocks. Then HD, McDonald's, and Walmart. I'm putting these as first because they've made such a big move. They're doing this continuation pull. So watch out, especially McDonald's. Walmart is the secondary one, I would say, because if Walmart starts pairing up with HD and McDonald's, that'll be great. But for the most part, HD and McDonald's are moving the same spot. They're kind of creating one of these big ranges, kind of like how they did here 3 months ago when we were playing them. So it's getting really important. Again, earnings is right around the corner. So I like both of those. And then again, hopefully the time decay, that I'm really banking on time decay helping us out next week, because some stuff was still really expensive. So we'll see how that plays out. And then, like we said, watch Beyond. And then finally, for the last chart, watch Facebook. I'm still going to have my eyes on that. I think they could still do good because they're really at that 218 level again. So it's kind of like Tesla. When Tesla broke out from that high, last time Tesla was at 377, it finally, that was its all-time high. It got up there and then it had this crazy rally. You might see the same thing with Facebook. So I would be down to get another play on this next week. I'm probably going to be focusing on this one tomorrow. So we'll see what happens. Then, like you said, TLT, then watch Abivai. I mean, they're going to have the ex-dividend. I picked up more shares of that on Friday. I grabbed another 10 shares. They're probably going to start moving down afterwards. So I know a lot of you guys are trying to get the ex-dividend for the long-term portfolio, which you have to remember, usually after the ex-dividend, the stock will pretty much drop the percentage of the dividend, usually because you had people buying it up and the stock rose up for the dividend. So an example of where you could see that, and again, this is a play I'm going to be looking at, is AT&T. So AT&T is still kind of holding up, but it's doing its ex-dividend sell-off. AT&T is one that when it does sell off in January, it has historically been pretty ugly. Every single time after this ex-dividend, it gets pretty bad. I guess 2016 wasn't too bad, but more often than not, we've seen this January sell-off and it gets a little shaky for them. So I'm going to watch out for that, though, see how they hold up and watch all the other dividend stocks. Then I'm going to watch AMD, even some of the other chip makers, but specifically, though, AMD still holding up these key levels at a very, very high level. So this is either going to start creating another one of these where it goes up, or if it starts going down, AMD could be a very, very good short. Then Snapchat, we love this one long term. I haven't got any more shares. I don't think I'll be able to buy more shares till next month. So pretty much we're just going to be watching if there's opportunity to sell any premium. We might do that, but that's pretty much it there. And then finally, watch Bank of America. Earnings, or I don't like the earnings for the banks, but I do like Bank of America. That is a unique one to play. I really prefer to play one that could get the earnings as well as the Fed meetings. But if not, another one I like, another bank stock. Again, their cheaper one, the more expensive version, I would say would be JP Morgan. But JP Morgan is very, very solid, and I enjoy them a lot just because they've gone crazy on every single one last earnings. So there's that. And then finally, like we said, these are the kind of the crazy continuation stocks, Tesla, Crowd, Roku. I'll be looking at that. Tesla's still been very, very hard to play, very expensive. But again, go to the butterflies if you guys missed that video. Check it out. And that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure we catch you on the stream tomorrow morning. Make sure you post your watch list. Keep your head in the game. Keep that armor on shining. Tell me what's in your hand, baby. Are you comfortable being a tool, baby? Start using the tools you got to, baby. It's going to be an exciting next week. I hope you guys are ready for earnings, and let's get it. See if we do another 9 weeks, baby. But either way, Colt loves you. I love you. I will see you in the morning. Let's go.